for a lot of countries and where service so it's very difficult. And because of the issues, I decided and then the no to see the opposite. So it's really good. And it's with this in the life, we don't want to respond itself. And it's not just like this because we because that's really and it's also really and now it's how you all feel. That's love. But that's just I see like something so that I think for things you sit in there. Cheers. What is Dallas? It's Dallas. Food From this. Yeah. Why not? Yeah. It's okay. Yeah, please come in. Oh, and I will sit, I can sit here. Okay, you sit. Sit down. Can I sit? Yeah. Yes. Oh, she's yeah.
It's true.
You can explain. Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm Achila Dandania from Stand Up Movement Lanka, and also I'm one of partner or member in the APWLP. On behalf of organizers, Asia Pacific Forum on Women, Law and Development, and Asia Pro-Age Alliance, and Global Platform Workers Solidarity Project, and Equidum. I would like to warmly welcome all of you to side event centering women voices to challenge structural inequalities in the world of work. We are gathering today at a critical moment for gender equality in the world of work. While important progress has been made over the years, structural inequalities continue to shape of experiences of women workers across sectors and regions. Women still face persistent gap in wages, job security, social protection, leadership opportunities, and across to labor rights, particularly those working in informal, precarious, and platform-based employment. At the same time, the continued un, uh, yes, how can I say, valuation of care work and the equal distribution of unpaid care responsibilities remain major barriers to women's full and equal participation in the workforce. As the ILO Gender Action Plan for 2022 to 2025 comes to an end, and as this year's International Labour Conference focus on advancing the transformative agenda for gender equality at work, agenda for gender equality at work, including decent work in the platform economy. This is the important opportunity to reflect progress made and the challenge to remain. The objective of today's dialogue is the place of women workers, voices and live experience at the center of the discussion. We aim to critically access to implementation of the ILO Gender Action Plan 2022 to 2025 and examine whether its commitment have translated into meaningful empowerment for women workers, particularly in the care and platform economics. Throughout this exchange among workers, trade unions, civil society organizations, feminist movement, and ILO representatives, we hope to identify key gaps, accountability challenges, and priority issues while also advancing concrete worker-led demand that can inform discussions at the International Labour Conference and beyond. By the end of this platform, we hope to achieve key outcomes. First, we aim to identify to few priority demands from women workers that can contribute directly to ongoing ILC discussion and further policy advocacy. Second, we seek to strengthen alliance and solidarity across different sectors, including care workers, garment workers, platform workers, domestic workers, and those in the informal economy. Finally, we hope that today's dialogue will generate concrete steps for all of us in collectively advancing a more inclusive, equitable, and transformative agenda for gender equality in the world of work. According to this context, we have four panelists with life experience are here to present fact of feed our cause. We have Sarani from Southern Riders, Ratna from FWA, Mustafa from Equidam, and John from KMU. Yeah, let's now turn to our speakers. First, I would like to invite Tarani. Tarani is a researcher and labor rights advocate focusing on labor workers in the platform economy in Thailand. Her work centers on female riders, informal laborers, and the impact of digital platformization on work conditions, income security, and social protection. She applied participatory and gender-sensitive approaches to better understand the life experiences of women workers, particularly those balancing paid work with unpaid care responsibilities. Her research aimed to contribute to more inclusive labor policies and stronger social protection system for platform workers in Southern Asia. Okay, this is over to Tarani.
Thank you, Washira, and good morning, everyone, and Tanari. Today, I would like to talking about group of workers that is difficult every day, but do not fully understand their real life and the risk they face. These are female riders in Thailand. The rider job is often seen as flexible and easy to start. People only need a motorcycle, a mobile phone, and internet access to begin working. But being easy to enter does not mean it's safe or fatal. Many female riders work under digital platform systems where their status as employee is not clearly defined. Because of this, they do not receive the same protection as regular workers. They often do not have stable benefits, proper insurance or full protection if accident happens while working. We just have one case in the 2 days ago. The woman rider in my city, she got accident, and right now she will be like unstable people. And yes, something like that. So we are so sad to listening about the story. And at a deeper level, it's showing an equal balance of power. The platform set the price, the work rules, and the conditions. But workers have very little or no voice in this decision. When we look at safety, female riders face many risks. It is not only about road accident like crash, rain, slippery roads, or long working hours that cause tiredness. It also includes social risks. For example, they may need to deliver food in quiet or unsafe area at night, or in place they do not know well. Some also face bullying, verbal harassment, or even sexual harassment during these risks are not counted in the cost of labor, and they are not fairly reflected in their income. Another important issue is family care responsibility. Many female riders are mothers or caregivers for children and elderly family members. This means they must handle two roles at the same time, working under time pressure and taking care of their family. This creates strong pressure in daily life. Many need to work longer hours just to earn enough income. Some have very little time to rest or sleep properly. Over time, this leads to chronic. The effect is not only physical, it also affects mental health. Many experience anxiety, exhaustion, loneliness, and a feeling of insecurity in their daily life. Even though this work supports city life and food delivery service, many female riders are invisible in the labor protection system. So the key question is not only why do the short this job, but more importantly, what risk does this system create for them, and who should be responsible for their safety and dignity. The solution cannot focus only on individual. We need structural change, such as upgrading the legal status of platform workers, building better social insurance system, creating real protection against harassment at work, and designing work systems and cities that are safety for women. Because in the end, behind every food delivery order, there is not only convenience for consumer, but also the life of a worker who keep their task, health, and safety. If society does not see this clearly, inequality will continue with every order we place every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Kalani. Then our next speaker is Ratna. Ratna is the government worker from Samran government in Indonesia, where she has been working for 10 years. She is also union secretary of SIPT Samran government. In the factory, she is a sewing machine operator. She is also one of the women implementing the Central Java Agreement for Gender Justice, a transformative and profitable brand agreement to address gender-based violence and harassment that bring together lessons from the Lesotho Agreement and Digital Agreement under the CJA. Savna is a member of the GBEH Elimination Committee. Over to you, Savna.
Thank you. Morning all. Senang sekali berada di sini ya teman-teman semua. Oke, jadi selama bertahun-tahun kita ketahui bahwa kode of conduct yang dibawa oleh brand yang mana menggunakan relasi kuasa itu mampu menekan pekerja untuk dengan alasan meningkatkan produktivitas, yang mana itu adalah menjadi salah satu hal yang memicu adanya kekerasan dan pelecehan berbasis gender. Sebelum adanya CGA yang mana pekerja perempuan tidak berani untuk melaporkan dengan mereka dibungkam, tapi setelah adanya CGA ini yang melibatkan brand dan juga supplier sehingga menjadi perjanjian yang mengikat, yang mana hak-hak pekerja, terutama pekerja perempuan, menjadi tanggung jawab bersama.
Good morning. My name is Ratna Triutami. So for long years, the code of conduct of the brand pressure for the high target, high productivity, and it caused the pressure for the women workers. So there are so many violations in the workplace, and it silenced workers because the women workers do not have any grave to report about their problem. But since Central Java Agreement implemented, it guarantees the right of the women workers, especially on GBV, free from GBVH in the workplace.
Perjanjian ini merubah konsep hak asasi manusia, hak pekerja dan juga hak perempuan, yang mana hanya menjadi formalitas yang kemudian dirubah menjadi mekanisme yang nyata untuk menciptakan ruang kerja yang aman bersama dengan teman-teman serikat pekerja dan juga pekerja perempuan. Dan kami juga melibatkan Satgas yang mana Satgas mewakili 40-45 pekerja di setiap lini produksi, sehingga ini yang membuat CGA berhasil.
So the Central Java Agreement it changed systematically the concept of human rights who previously is just formality become real. So Central Java Agreement push and encourage the implementation of human rights in real life. And it's also create the safe working place for the women workers. And the core of the Central Java Agreement is the women workers. It's led by women workers. For example, there are 45 until 46 in the production line, each who implement the Central Java Agreement together. So it's a collective action of the women workers to lead the program.
Oke, sebelumnya surat pengaduan yang disediakan oleh manajemen atau perusahaan itu dikuasai oleh manajemen yang mana pekerja di produksi tidak berani untuk melaporkan ketika mendapatkan kekerasan. Tapi ini kita punya akses yang penuh mengenai saluran pengaduan yang ada. Sebagai pelaku yang terlibat langsung dalam program perjanjian ini, melalui Komite Eliminasi Kekerasan dan Pelecehan Berbasis Gender, kami mempunyai 4 pilar yang menjadi unsur utama dalam program ini. Yang pertama adalah pencegahan, yang mana ada pelatihan untuk pekerja dari level operator sampai level top management, dan juga kita melakukan pemantauan yang dilakukan oleh Satgas, yang mana Satgas juga mengorganisir di produksi masing-masing.
And I want to say that previously the grievance system, the channel for the workers to report is managed by the management. That's why the women workers afraid to report, but because it's handled by the management. But after the Central Java Agreement, that's the women workers who manage the channel, the grievance system. They involved in that. Therefore, the women workers have a confidence to report because they have power in the grievance system. And there are 4 pillars in this Central Java Agreement. The first is the prevention of the GBV. It's included the training for all women workers, for all workers, all level, and from the on the ground, the production line, the middle management until the top management. So it's a systematically holistic changes by holding the trainings, and the trainer, all the trainer are the women workers itself.
Pilar yang kedua adalah perlindungan dari pembalasan, yang mana CCA menjamin adanya perlindungan bagi pekerja yang melapor dari ancaman kehilangan pekerjaan, dari diskriminasi, dari intimidasi, dan juga dari balas dendam. Kemudian yang pilar ketiga yaitu menangani melalui penanganan kasus, yang mana sudah dibentuk adanya tim investigasi, yang mana ketika ada laporan yang masuk, serikat dan juga komite akan menangani proses penanganan kasus tersebut, yang mana akan memberikan rekomendasi pada manajemen, dan manajemen wajib untuk melaksanakan rekomendasi tersebut.
The second pillar is the protection to the women workers, the victims. It's guaranteed no retaliation to the victims, no job losses, no discrimination. That's why it's fully protected, the victim. Third is the investigation process. It's also held by the women workers, and the Committee of Elimination, GBVH elimination. Its result, it will be investigate the case, and then the result, the recommendation, it's a must. It's a mandatory for the company to implement the recommendations.
Oke, pilar yang keempat adalah perlindungan terhadap korban, di mana ini jadi sangat penting dan menjadi fokus utama dalam program ini, karena kita juga mendampingi korban selama masa proses penanganan kasus, dan juga yang paling penting kita memberikan dukungan psikososial.
Yeah. And the fourth pillar is the support to the victim, so that the victim will be can access the support system fully.
Kehadiran CJ ini membawa perubahan yang mana perjanjian ini dipimpin oleh serikat pekerja dan juga pekerja perempuan, sehingga yang kita ketahui seluruh individu tidak mampu untuk menciptakan ruang kerja yang aman, sehingga kita perlu mendorong membuat perjanjian yang melibatkan dengan brand ataupun supplier. Jadi kita telah berjuang dan pengalaman kita berhasil untuk menciptakan lingkungan kerja yang bebas dari kekerasan, khususnya kekerasan berbasis gender.
So Central Java Agreement bring systematic challenge, systematic changes, and women workers, the problem of the GBV is not individual, so the solution not individual. The solution should be systematic. So it's the need the changes of the system. The Central Java Agreement force pressure give the brand to take responsibility to solve the problem.
Saya perlu menyadarkan kepada seluruh pekerja perempuan di seluruh negara, khususnya di negara Asia, yang mana kekerasan ini realitas dihadapi oleh pekerja perempuan. Jadi saya ingin bersama dengan rekan-rekan pemimpin serikat pekerja dan juga pekerja perempuan di berbagai negara untuk mengkampanyekan violence of fashion, yang mana kita harus mendorong buat perjanjian yang mengikat bersama dengan brand. Itu adalah salah satu hal atau upaya ciptaan ruang kerja yang aman, yang mana bersama-sama dengan pekerja perempuan dan juga serikat pekerja kita mampu menciptakan ruang kerja yang aman. Karena itu kami menuntut adanya violence out of fashion. Terima kasih.
That is the real life of the women workers, the daily life. And we realize that this process of Central Java Agreement, it create changes, make the women workers confidence, the powerful actors of these changes. So it need to be amplified, more campaign. That's why we also create the campaign of violence out of fashion, in which it promote the solution. It's a gender justice agreement in the supply chain, and bring the women workers to be the leader of this process. That's why it will create the safe working place for women workers. We need to keep the violence out of fashion.
Thank you, Ratna. Now we goes to Mustafa. Mustafa is a CEO of Freedom and Human Rights Organization focused on the world of work. Co-created research and campaign with essential workers globally to promote safe, dignified, and organized workplace. He is a human rights advocate with over 20 years of experience, having previously worked as a public international lawyer with the Australian government, a journalist with the Guardian and other outlets, and a researcher with Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International. Mustafa, what do you?
Thank you so much. Thank you to APWLD for organising this event, and especially to the workers on the panel today. It's really an honour and a privilege to share that this panel with you. And also just to say at the outset is that gender rights, women's rights in the workplace is a matter for everyone to be concerned about. And in all the discussions, one of the themes in the ILC so far has been, in many ways, we're fighting from the baseline. We're fighting very old issues in new contexts. And so what we're also hearing from the panelists today in different sectors is not just that women face the same challenges of discrimination, inequality, workplace violence, but actually they're also fighting back. And it's a very obvious point to make, but it's one that needs to be made, is that collectively there is power. That our economy is still fueled by exploiting women workers, and it can only be combated by collectively acting to do something about it. So it's a really crucial point. I think also one thing to really stress, as myself being basically a former public international lawyer, is whether by design or not, is these systems are designed to actually exclude the workers that we're meant to be fighting for. And so one thing that we're all doing, and certainly Equitem is trying to do, is to really break down those barriers so that workers who are actually fighting for their rights, their dignity in their workplaces are not just involved in the discussions, but are also holding us all accountable as their surrogates in these discussions to be making sure that we're fighting for rights and standards that apply to them. Very quickly on the ILO Gender Action Plan, obviously for those of you who've been involved in this ILC, it's been very, very slow going. We've obviously seen a minority of states very actively trying to defeat fundamental protections and framings. And whilst the majority of states are combating that, I think it's a very strong reminder of, broadly speaking, the kind of assault that the ILO and the international rights system is under right now. And I think that shadow, we will feel that. And it's something that we really need to be thinking about, both in terms of the existing system, but also what are the other ways in which we can combat that. And I will argue that the key way is to be listening to these workers and learning from them, rather than preaching to them about what these systems are and why they matter to them. I think we need to hear from them, tell us what they are doing, and they are actually having victories by talking to enterprises, to owners, to businesses, to states. I think that's really, really crucial. So I'll be very brief because I'm really keen to hear more from our workers speakers, and also from you as well. But very quickly about Equitem's work is we are an organization globally, and we seek to co-create research-based campaigns with workers. Many of our team are workers, and our focus is on essential work. We focus on the care economy, and we have a very big project on East African workers going to the Gulf countries, Middle East. We also work on the FIFA World Cup and mega sporting events. And our work is very much focused on working with workers to document labor exploitation in those events. And there's a very big gender component to that. Another area is around technology and work. And our work there is obviously our own investigation into big tech, labor conditions in the supply chain, where again, gender is a very big component. But also, as we have on the panel, is members of the Global Platform Workers Solidarity Project here in the ILC, that with the Interfaith Centre for Corporate Responsibility, we've brought to Geneva, is to make sure that workers are very much involved in discussions around the platform work convention. And then finally, we do a lot of work on climate and the workplace. And what we find is, it's very difficult to summarize large streams of our work, but the essence of it is that we see that workplace violence particularly and uniquely affects women and has a gender lens to it. And that there is this recognition through formal international law of this, which is a really crucial step, but so much work still needs to be done. In terms of our work on the care economy, our focus is deliberately on East African workers in the Gulf, because those workers are disproportionately represented in that sector, but they're also going into a region where not only are trading is prohibited for those kind of workers, but there are profound exploitation issues, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. These are women that work either in hospitals, in care sector, or in domestic homes, where they are exposed to all sorts of violations, where often they're actually punished for running away or for asserting their rights. Having said that, what we have found in the countries that we're operating, particularly Kenya, Ethiopia, and Uganda, is there is an incredible worker-led movement, very dynamic, very outcome-driven, that is already really active in pushing their governments to improve labour migration safety, consular support, and also to actually increase awareness amongst workers around their rights and how they get help. What we're dealing with, which I'm sure many of you are very familiar with, is a really complex situation. It's really not a binary situation. We often have workers under pressure from their own families to be going overseas find work, and often being very cavalier, their own families or their networks being very cavalier about the risks that they will face when we go overseas. And so we realized that the only way that we can really do an intervention is by working with communities. And crucially, that's a very important point, is trying to work with the governments where we can in these narrow channels around rights and respect in a region which is like the world, not just this region, where in fact the civic space is really shrinking. So I'm very running out of time, so be very quick, is for example, the networks we've developed and we're working with in Uganda are overwhelmingly represented on the LGBTQ plus community. We're not in this project trying to focus on their rights or their under assault in Uganda, but we feel that if we can work with these workers to talk with their government around safe migration to Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, obviously materially helping those workers, but we're also supporting a really crucial part of the human rights movement. Similarly, in Kenya, our worker staff in Kenya, who are a really amazing team, have worked very closely with the Kenyan government around their community engagement around ratification of Conventions 189, 190. And that's been really crucial, obviously, because the state is involved in that. But also, we've been helping the Kenyan government to have genuine engagement with worker-led organisations and also many workers that are not integrated to the labour movement. So those are kind of really crucial things that we're trying to do. I will end on this one final point around what are priority demands and solidarity. I think those things are really crucial. And what I would say is one thing that we're trying to do, I know many of you are, is particularly uplifting the voices of workers that have come to Geneva to really understand what they need for these action plans, how to make it relevant to their local fights. Because again, I want to emphasize crucially is that they are the ones that are teaching us what are the solutions. I think we have to, as a movement, really think about how to reinvigorate collective action. We've got incredible global union federations doing great work. We know how overwhelmed they are. And I think if we help these workers, we're also helping our existing allies who are the formal representatives of workers in the tripartite structure by making it relevant and more effective. But I'll leave on that. And again, just to say thank you to the panelists and to everyone for letting me have a chance to speak.
Okay, thank you very much, Papa Gatri. Now we go to John Xavier. John Xavier is a trade union leader and women rights activist from the Philippines. She currently serves for the Deputy Secretary General of Kelson Mayo, May First Movement, a major labor center in the country affiliated with the International Trade Union Confederation. She also leads the labor program organizing committee of the Asia Pacific Forum on Women, Law and Development. She's been 15 years of grassroots organizing experience, building on her early work as a youth activist before joining the labor movement. In addition to her organizing and advocacy work, she's filmmaker and visual artist. John, the floor.
Hi everyone, good morning. Thank you for taking the time to be here. We know you have committee meetings on this, so thank you for extending your time and support to us. Thank you to my sisters for sharing their experiences, their good experiences in Indonesia and Thailand. And across our region, across Asia and the Pacific, women are living through multiple and overlapping crises. Wars, geopolitical conflicts, economic instability, and rising living costs are reshaping our everyday life. Yet the burdens of these crises are not shared equally. Women workers continue to absorb the heaviest social and economic costs. In our region, women remain concentrated in some of the most insecure forms of work. Informal work, garment production, platform-based employment, agriculture, migrant labor, and domestic work. Women work without stable and living wages, without secure contracts, without social protection, and without health care. When economies slow and prices rise, or when climate disasters strike, we are the first to lose income and the last to receive support. In our region, the Asia Pacific region, women's labor force participation is around 51%, compared with 71% for men. And women earn on average 20% less than men for work of equal value. When women do participate in the labor force, we are trapped in informal and unprotected employment, leaving us highly vulnerable to layoffs, debt, hunger, and economic shocks. At the same time, we continue to carry the overwhelming burden of their work. We sustain households, care for children, older persons and family members, and fill the gaps left by inadequate and inaccessible public services. When our governments prioritize military spending and debt repayment over healthcare, education, childcare, and social protection, this responsibility is shifted back to families and most often shifted back to us women. The result is longer working days, greater economic insecurity, and fewer opportunities for us to participate in paid employment and in public life. These conditions are also closely linked to gender-based violence. Economic insecurity, displacement, labor migration, and weakened social protections increase women's vulnerability to violence, harassment, and even trafficking and exploitation. Women migrant workers, indigenous women, rural women, and women in conflict-affected communities in our region face particularly severe risks. The impacts of militarization, land dispossession, corporate exploitation, and forced migration continue to deepen existing inequalities and expose women to further violence and insecurity. Yet despite these challenges, we continue to organize, resist, and to lead. Across the region, women trade unionists, labor organizers, human rights defenders, and labor rights defenders are mobilizing and organizing. In many contexts, we do so while facing intimidation, imprisonment, enforced disappearances, and even killings. These realities remind us that gender justice cannot be separated from economic justice, labor rights, and peace. A society that depends on women's labor while undervaluing our work and perpetuating violence against us can never achieve genuine development and just and lasting peace. Likewise, sustainable peace cannot exist where equality, inequality, exploitation, and repression continue to shape women's lives. We are happy, I am personally happy to hear my sister's stories here because it goes to show that women are not merely enduring crisis or reacting to it. No? We are actively building alternatives. As much as spaces like these, the International Labour Conference and other formal spaces are important, it is very important to stress that through collective organizing, solidarity, and advocacy is where we are truly advancing a future where rights, dignity, and care are valued above profit. As we continue strengthening our movements across borders and sectors, let us reaffirm our commitment to living wages, decent work, job security, comprehensive social protection, freedom of association and collective bargaining, and the elimination of all forms of gender-based violence. Let us unite against war and exploitation. Let us stand with the women workers in our region whose rights are under attack, from Myanmar and the Philippines to Palestine and Iran. These are not separate struggles. They are essential foundations for a just, peaceful, and sustainable future. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the, now our panelists is speak out now. We are going to the open discussion. I hand over to the mic, Diane, and to hand it on.
Okay, so thank you everyone. Do you have any comment, question? Yeah, thank you. Please mention, introduce yourself and then the question.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I know the women power from, you know. I Joel Adonis, chairperson sa trade union sa Philippines. Ito sa yung unang umi, first day ko. We congratulate the women power. A short context of my questions is, we know the sufferings of women's discriminations from the top of our society down to the every factories. We also understand that if not half of the women workers across the globe, they have a big contribution on the global economy, and yet they are deprived. They are discriminated in so many ways. My question is, you know, organizations, unions very important. We know that. But we need to empower the women. Can you give us a step by step? What is your doing? How to continually empower the women from factory level to regional level and even in the global level to be able to hear your voice clearly? That all forms of discriminations must be must be arise and must be addressed. So yeah, this is my question. What are those steps that you are going to be able to empower the women, particularly women or women in general, women workers? Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. So we need the response from the panelists. Who will respond first? I want to just
Okay, just very quickly because we're colleagues. But basically, for us, no, I think it's no secret that the trade union movement is male dominated and male led, which is why we are actively changing that. That's why you see me from. I hope I testament enough testament to that. But it must be a proactive decision for our union, for leaders of my union. In our Congress last year in June 2025, we changed our constitution so that we can ensure that it is enshrined in the constitution, not only women's participation in leadership, but even the recognition and the leadership of the LGBTQIA plus community, which is a big step. Like we are the only trade union in the Philippines to do that. But these steps are important. We have our union, our trade union center. I think for other countries, it's called a national confederation. So our national confederation, from the very beginning, has had its women arm, which is independent. Independent from the confederation. It has its own programs. We call it the PLU Women's Bureau or PLU Women. But now we have expanded it to all genders to ensure that everyone is well represented. But I think that the most important thing is putting it on paper. That's important because you have unionists in the future to join the trade union. There must be clear reference to the principles, to the declaration, and establish a structure. Ever since our trade union was born, we made sure that each committee of every union has a women's committee. And that's like a prerequisite. That's like one of the it's a minimum. Like if the union is small, you must ensure that there's at least an organizing committee, a nomination committee, and a witness committee. So these things take time, but it has to be a proactive choice, not just by the leadership, but by the entire membership. And it really begins with acknowledging that half, or if not more than half, of the labor force is actually composed of women that we are choosing this book. So these steps are very, very important, and follow through is important. Even if you put it in the constitution, you have women's here, we have women's committees, if it doesn't function, then there is no point. So we make sure to meet regularly and to monitor what each committee, each union, and each factory is doing, what the other women's groups are doing. We also have very close relations with women's organizations in the country, and they've been guiding us through our women's program and have been guiding us from the very beginning in handling cases of gender abuse violence.
Oke, sampai sini ya. Jadi luar biasa sekali apa yang disampaikan oleh Juana. Tapi di sini saya ingin bercerita tentang pengalaman mengenai program yang saya jalankan di Semarang dan juga di PT Batang Aparel. Yang mana di perjanjian ini kita juga menggandeng teman-teman NGO dan juga aliansi untuk memberikan support terhadap pekerja-pekerja perempuan dengan berbagai macam pelatihan. Karena yang saya ketahui bahwa pekerja yang mana itu juga ada di daerah pelosok, gitu ya, sebenarnya dia tidak merasa kalau dia itu mengalami kekerasan atau pelecehan. Yang mana itu juga harus kita dorong memberikan pelatihan terhadap teman-teman agar mereka sadar bahwa selama ini mereka bekerja itu berdampingan dengan adanya kekerasan dan juga pelecehan. Jadi relasi itu juga penting, kemudian bergandeng dengan NGO dan juga relasi untuk memberikan kapasitas peningkatan kepada teman-teman pekerja yang mana pekerja menjadi lebih percaya diri, dan juga kita harus berani menciptakan ruang-ruang perempuan masuk dalam ruang diskusi ataupun ruang dalam perundingan. Sama kalau di pabrik bisa juga dengan ruang-ruang kantin seperti itu.
It's amazing for Joanna for her opinion, but I want to share about my experience of Central Java Agreement. In Central Java Agreement, we also involve another stakeholders with NGO to support and have a work together to do the training. It's very important because by conducting the training, the women workers become confident, and also have a brave to involve in the decision making. For example, involving the negotiation. So the union need to create spaces for the women workers to involve to the strategy forum, for example, bipartite, and also the negotiation with the management, that kind of thing. Thank you. Anything else? So free for the participants to have comments and also questions. Oh yeah. Please.
Yo hablo español. Spanish.
Thank you.
Buenos días a todas y a todos. La verdad es que yo creo que la situación que tiene nuestra compañera no está distante a lo que pasa en América Latina y el Caribe. Somos trabajadoras de trabajo en domicilio. No somos casas particulares. Y la verdad es que nuestra vulnerabilidad que tenemos en nuestro trabajo es del día a día. O sea, la gente trabaja para vivir el día. No tenemos empleador. Vivimos invisibilizadas todos los días. También no tenemos seguridad social ni contratos. Por lo tanto, nos une una condición muy vulnerable entre mujeres. También tenemos violencia física, psicológica. Estamos en el sistema de cuidados porque trabajamos y cuidamos a nuestros hijos, a nuestros nietos. Y la verdad es que nosotros por lo menos vemos que cuando se discuten estos temas, cuando se habla de las plataformas, nosotros no estamos ahí. Lamentamos no estar. Pero nosotros, como no tenemos otros empleadores, es muy difícil poder discutir qué nos beneficia más. Entonces quisiera también que ustedes supieran que hay sectores de mujeres en Latinoamérica que trabajan de esta forma. Y también vemos que aquí en la discusión que hace de las mujeres, se reconoce el trabajo desregulado.
First of all, good morning to all. I wanted to make you aware that in Latin America, the situation is very similar. The brunt of a lot of work, irregular work, is on women with care work and factory work, working in homes, private homes. And we in Latin America face the same challenges that you face in your countries. So it's a very important discussion here, especially for platform work, where we are not mentioned. And I just wanted to make you aware that in Latin America, we are having the same challenges that you are. That's the gist of it, not exactly, but that's the gist of it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I just want to say we not forgot about care worker or some another platform worker, because right now in Thailand we are formed about platform worker federation organization. We collect about another platform worker also, like the care worker, service or some another sector. It's not focused on rider, and we thinking it's very, very important to form all of us to be one organization. Then we have more power to put our demand with our government or with international like the ILO here. So I just want you to know we never forgot women labor, same like in everywhere here in the worldwide. Thank you.
I just want to say one really quick point is, I mean, two really obvious things actually. One is that obviously gender isn't just about empowerment for women. Gender impacts can happen for anyone based on their gender, whether they're women or men or have other types of identity. But when it comes to women's rights and empowerment, I think a really crucial thing isn't just about changing situations for women, but also changing men's attitudes towards how the workplace in our society operates. And I've seen that quite a lot across my career, my personal life, in a lot of contexts, that you have to be able to change the way society attitude towards what the norms are. And it's very important, of course, in a specific context, like the panelists have mentioned, that there are certain spaces created for women workers within trade unions. But ultimately, for example, you have to be mainstreaming. So a very simple example is we know that heat stress impacts more and more workers. It impacts women in particularly unique ways. But if you look at the ISO standards, which are meant to cover things like heat stress, it's clearly got a male assumptions behind that. It doesn't really adequately address, for example, women garment workers, women platform workers, women care workers in it. So I would argue in the longer term, it would be wrong to think of, let's make an exceptional set of standards that apply just to women. In fact, we have to do is make your norm one that is sensitized, centered around all workers, noting that 50% or more workers in any given context are women. And to make that a reality, it is also really crucial that men have to be stakeholders in that. We have to be listening. We have to be agents of change. I think I can't really stress that enough. There's a lot of projects I've been involved in where, for example, in Ecuador with our care project, we have an incredible former domestic worker from Saudi Arabia and Qatar in our team. And in much of the organising, naturally the male staff are more willing and more confident to speak out and talk about things. And yet the person who was the expert on what's actually the issues that they face can tell you in intricate detail about the journey of a worker in the care sector from their village or the community in a place like Kenya to get recruited and then end up in a Gulf country was mostly silent. And so we had to really change the way that we were doing our stakeholder engagement, not just to create a safe space for her to speak, because she obviously had faced trauma, but because the way that this issue had to be approached had to change. So that's just one very simple example, but I think that has to be, in a systems sense, really looked at. And we all have to be stakeholders in that. We have to be lobbying people, and I'd say, just to be a bit simple, that men to be playing their role as making this change, because ultimately, and that's a very obvious point, but is we're talking about workers who happen to be looking at the gender lens and happen to be women, but it's ultimately about worker rights that we're talking about. And the system is not listening to those people. That's the thing ultimately we need to be constantly banging away at.
One more. Okay, so we have time for one more question and also one or two. Okay. Our boss is so kind to give you space more. Okay, one more. Okay. Thank you.
It's okay. Hi, everyone.
Can you use the microphone? I'm not here. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So, Singapore from Kenya. I'm presenting the last interviews and training also to AI, the self-training cars, the visual recognition, the robots, everything. So I just feel cases in our outlet actually the experience cases to where female workers they are interested to enter into the platform, but they are asked for special papers. So if you don't give, you're not going to be listed. So I just wanted to encourage you to get that in this fight. Yeah.
Okay, so now one more or just close and then we go to another session. Okay, yeah. So our session on the Q&A is finished, but we have one more session. Another session is wrap-up for our discussion today, and also we will have a follow-up action. So I want you to stay here for 30 minutes more. And we will have a break around 5 minutes. So it will give us time to wrap up the points of our discussion. Thank you very much. Yeah, we break for 5 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah.
But let's not easy.
That's pretty hard.
I'm sorry.
It's a big-
Please,
Yeah.
need to wrap up this So, yeah, it's not over. You said this a lot, because it's
And
actually is.
brands.
Yes.
Actually,
Yeah, we need to know about our followers.
yes, overseas.
But, you don't need to.
You know, the clothing brand like F.
Yes.
Yes. Brands. Yeah. It's because of like workers, which is the big companies overseas, pressure. How many happens? That's all right. Yeah, I'm not speaking for us, that's fine. Let's talk about what allowed to change. And then we're able to, the company is able to negotiate. Yeah, in the central job pyramid, yeah. Very interesting, yeah. It's amazing. It's music. Very expensive. Yes, because particularly with started workers in Dallas. You have very much in Sri Lanka. But they're very keen. Yeah.
I also engage in your life spectacular.
Yeah, no, I'd love to speak about that.
Mindful,
Yes.
like focus of.
Yeah, so it just makes me work on like anything essential, like mega projects in the care sector. One was a big part of it, especially in the Middle East. How interesting. Interesting. And which countries may work in?
That's the whole
Sorry.
Hi.
First.
Yes. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, I hear. Yes, I just made it. Yeah, I see that. That's it's like, yes. Yeah, good discussion. Super inspiring. Especially in Geneva. I know, yeah. Right.
I think it was a good change today.
Yeah.
The first day it was going to work,
Yeah.
but I could see the Thursday people are here and we should get to tell morning before the event.
And I think it's like, based on, if we're bigger family of this.
Yeah.
Yes, you guys have been going to see this. And it's
Now we are like,
it's not crazy. It's still going.
they don't need us, but it's their fine.
It's slowly, yeah, that's the, yeah.
It's great.
The stations you can find too. Yeah.
It's been good, yeah.
I think it's great. Yeah, sure. Are you gonna go get some?
Yes.
Yeah, it's very big session. Yeah. It's exciting, and it's big challenges.
Oh.
And it's funny because so I got very vividly, happiness before and pregnant. It's very, it's often just like that. Whereas it's not things, bring it to the business. Australia. And, ladies is and space. And we actually, it's impossible to shoot, but even the management was totally, I think, credit. It's, we have to be such a deep into it. Into as much as it's not like it's.
Oh, okay. I'm based in the US.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's not something.
Yes.
Yeah, I think of the fundamental needs.
Like the rest of it was fat. Like East Coast, or Pacific. Yeah. And you know, yeah. It is a main base. No, we are, we don't have the main office. Yes. How about, you want to, yeah,
Maybe all of them side.
Yeah, what does fake mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Hello. And then maybe the panelists over there.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, everyone. Okay. Thank you everyone for staying after the discussion. So this session is the wrapping session. We already. Bye. I said hi. You actually bye. Hi. Hello. Okay. No man workers. So let's go back to our session. Yeah, we already wrap up the point of our discussion. Okay, previously. So there are some points. There's 6 points. The first is the reposition, the contribution of women workers in global economy. The second is proactive policies inside union for women, LGBTIQ plus leadership. And number 3, space for building confidence for women workers to be part of decision making and tripartite negotiation. 4, working together between union, women organization, and global organization to build power and capacities. 5, building alliance from multi-sector alliance such as platform sectors, government, care work, domestic work, and riders across countries and across region. So, and the last, making sure we are led by women workers and strategize, and also it will be strategized and informed by the women workers experience. So the sources of our building, power building is the experience, the daily experience of women workers. So these are 6 points. Anyone want to share about these 6 points, or you want to add some points about our discussion if we miss something, or you want to strengthen one of these? Anything? Oh yeah.
Thanks so much. I just have one question, which is, because others might know, have there been any studies that have looked at what was successful, such as in the Central Java Agreement, what were the conditions that led to that success that can be copied? And it probably has already been done, but I'd love to see that. I think that'd be really useful, because it's such a concrete, local-led success.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea, how to copy the best practice of Central Java Agreement so that, it will be, expand, copied, in the across country and another region. We have, AFA have a campaign, Silence Out of Fashion. It's a campaign, the gender justice agreement, the supply chain. Maybe, Ashley, do you want to share about the finance action so that, it will bring, the same, similar, gender justice, how it works, in, another country and also across the region?
Sure, I can respond briefly. I think Ratna already explained about the surveillance and international campaign, where lots of workers from the regions are demanding that fashion brands are held accountable and that they replicate agreements like the Central Java agreements in their factories. But also to respond to Mustafa, there will be reports coming on the Central Java agreements. As well as there should be more studies that sort of compare the different agreements that are out there. There should be more sessions like this that are actually sharing deeply how these things are applied and how they can be replicated. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. So I want to say also, we can also discuss about the application, based on our discussion. So this is the point of our discussion. Mustafa already bring the, idea. It's like, also the follow-up action, right? Copies, CJR as best practice through the campaign of violence out of fashion, and we will have also the report of the 1 year Central Java Agreement. It can be also amplified, across countries and region. Maybe, this is a government sector, maybe, another, recommendation. Yeah, and also every WLD, proposed a joint statement, to concise all of our discussion and, what is our position. And also this joint statement will be, delivered, to the stakeholders for, for the resolution of whatever, but we will discuss more, on the next meeting. So there will be, there will be a follow-up, meeting, as to discuss what next. It could be the, talking about the joint statement and also, about how, to expand this, the best practice, and maybe also, across the countries, we also have the best practice that not discussed, in this floor. We can, add the follow-up action. So do you agree that we will have the meeting after this? It's an online meeting, of course.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a brief context regarding, we don't want to, it's just like a 1 hour and 30 minutes discussion, but we want to think about the follow-up action and concrete action that we want to talk about. And after this, we propose that after we synthesize all this, discussion, we will share the documentation to you short email because we already, have the email. And we propose, to have a follow-up meeting with, really clear about the issue that we want to bring. We already identify about the umbrella of the issue that we want to bring together. We already picking the actor that we want to force, like the government, the ILO. We need to clear about it. So it's not just about 1 hour discussion. We need concrete statement for next collective action. So yeah, for us, we will share the documentation as soon as possible, and we really want to keep in touch with you all to think collectively about our next strategy. And then, Dia already mentioned before that, just a brief context that this year, IMF World Bank will conduct an annual meeting on October, and we know about their purpose for the labor movement and APWLD, together with its members who want to have a collective campaign. So based on that context, we want ask for your support to disseminate the short video like shut down IR program.
There are 3 lines.
Yeah.
You will need the yell, and
Yes.
then we will ready for the video here, outside or inside.
I think inside,
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
And that video, if you agree for the solidarity video for IMF working. If you agree for that, we can make a line here, then. And just try to think about shut down IMF working. If you agree for them.
Are you okay with it?
Are you okay? But it's not okay.
The same. Yeah, and before that, IPWLD will send the email to the co-organizers to meet up again, and also the summarize and about the detail of the next meeting. So yeah, once again, thank you everyone.
Yeah.
For all of the community and co-organizers who help this discussion. And before that, we want to have a picture together, and then the short video solidarity. Thank you very much.
Can we meet here, sister and brothers? Photo and video.